Hi, I'm Deborah Henne, host of Sounds Like Freedom podcast. Today I have an exciting guest. She is the author of Unexpected Moments, a book with a foreword by Kirk Cameron, and she is looking to share her story of inspiration and raise awareness to a condition that she has. So without further ado, Daisy,
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for having me today.
of course, it's a joy to have you and an honor to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the inspiration for your book?
Yes, of course. I live in Texas. I have three grown children that I couldn't be more proud of. They have seen and witnessed so many things throughout their life, my abuse that I suffered. And, and this is my hometown near Anna, Texas, near the McKinney area. I've lived here most of my whole life, except I tried to move away a few times. Every time I do, I never can go anywhere more than 4.5 years, and some sort of trauma or tragedy always brings me back home. So I guess it's meant to be. I'm supposed to be here and be with family and friends and be safe and secure.
Okay, so can you tell us about your book, Unexpected Moments?
Yes, it's my life story, which consists of being sexually abused from the age of about 9 till 13 and a half or so. And then after that, I was raped and drugged by someone else. I married and was abused by my husband for 11 years. I, after that, joined the army for a little bit to try to get a fresh start for me and my children. And that didn't last long because I tore my ACL, had to have surgery and other things done to my knees. So I met someone in physical therapy that shared my Christianity and beliefs and spirituality. And so after he was discharged from physical therapy, I went to visit in upstate New York. We were just friends, and I was there for 2 weeks and decided. He asked me the night before I left, hey, I feel a really strong connection with you. We've talked about a lot. We've got a lot in common. How would you feel about moving up here and being with me? So I thought, I'd give it a try. 4.5 years went by. He never laid a hand on me, and then one day his switch just went off over some stupid argument with some dogs, and he hit me over the bowl of a head with a bowl of like a ceramic dish, and fractured my skull. And I was in the hospital for about a month, leaking fluid from my brain. Almost didn't make it, which there was many times throughout my life I didn't want to or almost didn't make it. But I believe it was by the grace of God that I did. And I now believe that I went through everything I did to make me strong enough to handle this disorder that I have, because it is very hard on your body and it progresses rapidly. It took them a long time to diagnose me because it's so rare. Only 4 of over 100,000 people that get diagnosed with it in the US, so that's how rare it is. But I think I was supposed to go through those things and make me strong enough to deal with it. And 10% of my proceeds from my book go to charity to help make research to cure for the disorder and make more awareness out there. As well as I'm selling T-shirts that have hope, fight, cure on the front with MSA and a ribbon. And purple's their awareness color. And then on the back, it's got my book, title, and website. So that way, if they purchase the T-shirt, all the proceeds go to the charity. And then on the back, it advertises my shirt. So if someone buys my shirt, they get double proceeds for the charity.
That's great. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your diagnosis? And you said it took a while to get the diagnosis because it's so rare. And I've heard that I work in the medical community, and I've heard that from time to time with somebody who comes across with a more rare diagnosis. They said, I went to specialist after specialist after specialist trying to find answers, and then they would try one thing, and then that wasn't the right fit. It didn't fit. The treatment course wasn't right, and just frustration with trying to get an answer.
Oh, it was horrible. being, like you said, shifted from doctor to doctor and test after test. And yeah. So it pretty well, there's two different types. There's a MSAP, which is MSA Parkinsonism, which mimics Parkinson's. So for about a year, they thought I had Parkinson's. And I was seeing a neurologist for that, but the medicine wasn't working. So he was like, I'm going to refer you to the doctor. And then that doctor read over his notes and said, oh, I agree with him. Didn't even see me. So then I had to wait about a year to get in to see this movement disorder specialist. And when I finally got in to see him, he just took one look at me after he evaluated me for 2 hours. He spent some really good quality time with me. And he said, no, this is not Parkinson's. This is MSA. I said, oh, okay, never heard of that. Can you fix me? He said, no, unfortunately, there's no cure for MSA. So all we can do is give you medicine to help you slow down the progress and help with pain, because it comes with really severe chronic pain as well. And so that diagnosis came in about a year and a half ago. So the life expectancy on it is only about 5 to 7 years from the onset of symptoms. What happens is, it is a rare degenerative neurological disorder, and it affects your body's involuntary or your autonomic systems, like your circulatory system, your respiratory system, digestive system, urinary system, anything your brain has to, be configured to do, mobility, things like that. Nothing that you do on your own, that your body does it on its own. So I'm already at the stage where I'm having respiratory issues and digestive disorders and urinary. Mobility was my first symptom. I started getting uncoordinated drop things. I'd be walking, like, lose my balance just over nothing and fall. I was getting a lot of falls, having to be taken to the hospital for stitches or staples because I would hurt myself. But Parkinsonism type, the first symptoms are like rigid muscles, difficulty bending your arms and legs, moving slowly, like what they call bradykinesia, and tremors. Sometimes they're rare, but I did have those where I would shake really bad. And at first my husband was like, do you see that woman over there? She's like 90 years old. She's not shaking. You're shaking worse than her. Why? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't control it, And then problems with your balance and your posture. I kind of call it the pizza posture, because you kind of lean, like I'm leaning one side to the other. But the other type is a cerebellar type, and that impairs your coordination as well. It gives you an unsteady gait and slurred, slow or low volume speech, visual disturbances, and difficulty swallowing. When you near the end, you actually develop symptoms from both P and C. So I'm starting to see some signs of C. And I had actually had hospice called out here to see me 2 weeks ago, but I declined because I feel like I have more work to do and I'm not ready to go on hospice. I'm going to fight it, And the doctor did put me on palliative care instead, so they can help me manage my pain a little bit better.
So is there something that because I know sometimes our mindset and our mind frame is so important with how we walk through and our experience with walking through things, hard things especially. Is there something that you kind of go to, or a place that you go to help get yourself through this time?
Well, right now I'm just sort of pushing through the pain and everything, trying to ignore that it's there long enough to get my story out and share it, because it's going to be out there a long time after even I'm gone. and I want that to be known. So I feel that God, He did tell me, well, right after I got diagnosed, I felt like God told me, my child, your time is near, but you need to tell your story from the beginning first. And so I took that vision and what he said to Kirk Cameron when I met him. And he said, well, how do you plan on sharing your story? And I said, well, I don't really know what to do. And Kirk Cameron said, I think you should write a book. I said, well, Kirk, I've never written anything more than a poem in my whole life. He said, pray about it. God will give you those words you need to put into that book, and I will help you share your story with the world. Surprisingly,
So
he
how did you
did.
meet Cameron?
Well, after my diagnosis, my doctor told me, live life each day like to be, the best that you can. So my husband and I were going to go to Vermont and see my friend in October. Instead, she got COVID, so we were driving through our hometown, and there was a marquee on a big church there that said Kirk Cameron was coming to follow, and that was the week we were supposed to go to Vermont. So I took that as a sign or something, So I ordered VIP tickets, and my mom went with me. And I was going to ask him a question. See, he was my celebrity heartthrob as a teenager, and I had his posters all over my walls. But I had raised my hand and I was going to ask him a question. I got nervous, so I put it down. And this man in the middle of the aisle raised his hand, and when Kirk asked him, yes, sir, he pointed down at me and said, this lady down here has a question for you. And I was like, oh, no. Okay, I said, first of all, I just want you to know that I had your posters all over my walls when I was a teenager. I wrote you a letter and asked for your autograph and gave you 3 minutes, and you never wrote me back, so I tore all your posters down. You broke my heart. He said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that. He said, well, how about I make that up to you tonight? And I said, oh, that would be great. And of course, I'm in a wheelchair. So when it came photo time with him, the same man that asked me, or raised his hand and put me on the spot, asked me if they wanted me to put my wheelchair on stage. And I said, you don't have to do that. I'll see if he'll come down on the stage and take a picture with me afterwards. And they're like, no, we're going to put your wheelchair up there. So I said, okay. Well, I gave him a defeatmsa.org bracelet, and he asked me, is this what you have? And I said, yes. And he said, I've never heard of that. And I said, well, it's terminal. And he said, I'm so sorry to hear that, And I asked him if he could help me out of my wheelchair for a picture. And he said, you can stand up. I said, if you help me. So he kindly helped me out of my chair. And of course, I had the death grip on him. And I smiled like a big old cheesy teenager, starstruck. But he said, I want to talk to you some more after the event. And I said, okay. So after that event, you go outside to a campfire. And after the campfire, I got the security guard, and I said, do you think I could pay him to sign my ticket for me? He said, oh, yes. And so Kirk came right over, and he said, can I pray for you? And I said, yes, of course. And he got on his knees and held my hands and prayed for me. After he prayed, I told him about God's message. And then he told me about writing a book, and that's how it happened.
So do you have any suggestions for anybody who might be facing some really difficult, challenging situations, of how to live as an overcomer? Because you've been through a lot and have overcome a lot and have conquered a lot in your life. Is there any little nuggets that you could share with anybody of how to take some of the yuck, the horrible things in life and come out on top?
Yes. First of all, my suggestions are, don't take life for granted. You never know what a blink of an eye can bring. So remember there's God, and He can help you through anything. And He doesn't put you through more than you can handle. It may seem like it at the time, but he doesn't, and he will always help you out of your situations if you just have faith and you pray. Also, make sure you have a close friend or a confidant that you can talk to, someone that can help you out of a situation if it gets severe. And I'm lucky that I did have that and got out while I still had my life. And I almost didn't, and I don't know why I missed the signs, and they weren't there. I didn't see them at all, but I could have lost my life there when I was in the hospital for a month and got my skull fractured. Don't let it get that far. Just, if you have any signs of abuse, don't feel like you have to stick in. There's always a domestic violence center that can help you and put you in shelter, and they actually help you find a home and get you back on your feet. But mainly, don't take life for granted. Don't stay in those situations. Don't take the daily basic tasks like washing yourself and washing your hair and brushing your teeth and things like that for granted. I did that. Now I can't do any of that, even walking. If I could go back, I would thank God every day. Thank you for allowing me to walk. Because I used to walk 11 flights of stairs 3 times a day. I do yoga every day. It's very active. Walk the beach every day. But now I can't do any of that. I went to visit the beach this past summer and not being able to walk on the sand anymore and go in the water and boogie board. It was so depressing to me. So just be thankful for what you have and don't take it for granted.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your book and your story with us. I have your website up here, unexpected-moments.com, where they can find more information about you and your book and your story. Um, and yeah, thank you for sharing some nuggets of how to, move forward in hope and move forward in victory, even through the difficult and challenging seasons. And can you tell us how to get your book and where we can find your book?
Yes, you can either go to the unexpected-moments.com, or if you go to my Facebook, Daisy Paige Author, you can find the link there. It's from Ex Libris, Xlibris. Show you a little preview of that. And if you buy it like at Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, I don't get as many proceeds, so charity won't get as many. So I would recommend please purchase my book to help charity find a cure for this horrible disease, and purchase it in its Libris instead, going by through my unexpected-moments.com or through my Facebook page and clicking on the link.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time, this is Sounds Like Freedom, where we look at making our thoughts sound like Jesus's so they sound like freedom. And be blessed.